Now, I'll warn you, the Bible is not an easy book to read right through.
我首先要提醒大家，圣经你要整本圣经读下来，并不是非常容易的事。
For one thing, there's an awful lot of it.
那第一就是圣经很多，它的内容很多。
3/4 of a million words.
它大概几乎有快要100万的这样的字。
And the first few chapters of Chronicles.
那我们特别看到前面，比如说历代志上那些经文当中
，is as exciting as reading the telephone directory.
那个跟我们读我们的电话簿差不多的那个兴奋感呢。
And the poor church members who had to read that.
那我们当中那些人必须要读那些经文的。
It's all begatting.
然后谁生谁。
And this man begat this man, and this man begat this man.
他生他，他又生他，后来他又生了他。
They seem to have done nothing for centuries but begat.
他们好像整世纪都在生来生去。
But even that has meaning.
可是连这个都有它的意义。
But reading the Bible through was a revelation.
整本圣经读完是一个非常大的一个启示。
For another thing, the Bible is not only a very long book.
那圣经另外一个原因，圣经不只是很长的一本书
，but it's written so long ago.
因为它是很久之前所写的
，and so far away.
是离我们有一点遥远的
that it's in a culture totally different to our culture.
跟我们的文化是一个它是在一个完全不一样的文化中所写出来的。
There's nothing about mobile phones here.
里面没有写到任何关于手机。
Though I heard a little girl going home from church singing at the top of her voice.
不过我听过一个小女孩，当她从教会回家的时候，她很开心的在那边唱歌。
God is still on the phone. God is still on the phone.
神仍然坐在宝座上，可是她听见神仍然拿着手机在讲话。
You may know the song God is still on the throne.
你知道那其实是神仍然在宝座上，可是那个音听起来像是在电话上。
But there's nothing about television here.
在圣经里面没有讲到任何关于电视。
Nothing about birth control.
也没有讲到任何关于节育所用的事。
There's nothing about our life today.
好像跟我们现在的生活没有太大的关系啊。
And so many people find it very hard to read.
所以很多人觉得要读圣经是很困难的事。
It's just another world.
是一个完全不一样的世界。
And there are other reasons why it's such a hard book to read.
我们还有其他的理由，为什么这本书是这么困难来读的？
Because actually the truth is the Bible is not a book.
因为其实你要知道，圣经不是一本书。
It's a library.
是一个图书馆。
Of 66 books.
这个图书馆里面有66本书。
And they're not all the same kind of book.
而且他们都不是同样类型的书。
Many people who decide to read it through start at Genesis.
很多一开始决定要把它整本读完的，从创世纪开始读。
And get stuck in Leviticus.
大概到利未记就卡住了。
Because suddenly the stories have stopped.
因为突然在利未记的时候，那个之前的故事好像停滞了。
And you're into a totally different world.
你进入到一个完全不一样的世界里。
The stories of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob and Joseph, well, a child can understand them.
叫亚伯拉罕、以撒、雅各、约瑟的故事，连一个孩童都可以理解。
And the Exodus is quite exciting.
出埃及记还蛮令人兴奋的。
But Leviticus.
可是到利未记的时候
，sacrifices.
这些的献祭
，we hardly know what they are.
这些献祭跟我们来讲非常的遥远。
So it's a library.
所以是一个图书馆。
There are songbooks.
里面有诗歌。
History books.
有历史书。
Law books.
有律法书。
Letters. 有
书信。
And predictions about the future.
还有关于将来的预言。
It's a complete mixture.
是一个完全的一个合集。
And so when you read it through, your mind has to change gear regularly.
所以当你要整本读完的时候，在不同的地方，你的思想要做些调整。
So how do you read your Bible?
那你是怎么读你的圣经的呢？
Straight through?
这样一次读完吗？
Or do you read it like a dose of medicine?
或者是你是像是吃药一样这样吃，这边吃一点，那边吃一点。
Do you know the medical way of reading the Bible?
你知道从医疗的角度来读圣经的方式是怎么读吗？
10 verses a day keeps the doctor away.
就是一天读10节，就永远不需要看医生。
Or to be more spiritual, 10 verses a day keeps the devil away.
或者我们稍微属灵一点，一天读10节，魔鬼就会远离你。
Or then there's what I call the lucky dip way of reading the Bible.
或者是我称这个是我们就是几率性的来读圣经法。啊，这是一个
You
奥秘
read。the Bible that way?
你是这样的读圣经吗？
There was one man who read the Bible that way,
有一个人曾经这样的读圣经
and Judas went out and hanged himself.
啊，犹大出去自尽。再来一次，
Go and do thou likewise.
你就照着行吧。
That's not the way to read the Bible.
这不是应该我们读圣经的方式。
So what's the best way of reading the Bible?
那最好读圣经的方式是什么呢？
The answer is one book at a time.
那答案是什么？一次读一卷，
Read like you'd read any other book,
就像你读任何其他书籍一样，
straight through.
就是一次把它读完。
Suppose you got a novel out of the library,
假设你去图书馆里面借一本小说，
we'll say a popular detective novel.
我们讲说是我们很熟悉、很喜欢的侦探性的小说。
I know how you'd read that.
我知道你会怎么来读这本书。
You'd start in the middle of chapter 13,
你会在第13章那边停下来，
and you'd read a few paragraphs,
你可能读几段，
and then you'd go back to chapter
然
5,
后又回到第5章，
and you'd read a page
然后
there.
读第5章的一页，
And then you'd go to chapter 20 and read a bit more.
然后读到第20章，再读多一点点。
That's how you read a novel, isn't it?
这是你读小说是这样读的吗？
Of course it isn't.
当然不是啊。
Then why do you read the Bible that way?
那为什么我们是这样的读圣经呢？
Doesn't make sense.
听起来不太合逻辑啊。
If you want to get the message of a book, you read the book through.
如果你要知道这本书它主要的信息说什么，你就
You
整本读
start
完
at the
了。
beginning of that book and end at the end.
你是从这本书的开始读，然后结束的时候才结束。
But I find very few Christians do that.
可是很少的基督徒会这样做。
So I'm going to recommend you to read the Bible as God gave it to you.
所以我要建议大家，当你读圣经的时候，照着神给你的方式。
He gave it to you in books.
他怎么样给我们的呢？他是把它一卷一卷的给我
So
们。
that's how he wanted it read.
所以他要我们读圣经的方式也是一卷一卷的来读，
A whole book at a time.
一次读一卷书。
And now I've got a bit of a shock for you.
那接下来可能讲的东西会令你非常的讶异。
God didn't give you chapter and verse numbers.
其实当神给我们圣经的时候，并没有给我们章节，
Those are not inspired by God.
章节不是圣灵漠视的。
So see if you can get a Bible without them.
所以你可不可以看看，可不可以找一本圣经是没有章节的？
Now, we are fortunate in English. We can buy the New International Version without any chapter and verse numbers.
你知道，我们英文版，我们的 NIV 版可以买到是没有任何章节的圣经。
Wouldn't you love a Bible without chapter and verse numbers?
你会不会很喜欢一本圣经是没有章节，就是整本圣经呢？
Are you sure?
真的会想要吗？
Because if you had a Bible without chapter and verse numbers, you'd have to know your Bible very well.
因为如果你有一本圣经是没有章节的话，你就真的很需要认识它，
Because you couldn't find a text
因为你没有办法用章节的方式去找到那个经文，
unless you knew its context.
除非你知道那个经文的上下文。
You really have to know your Bible.
你真的需要认识你的
For
圣
1,000
经。
years, Christians had this Bible with no chapter and verse numbers.
你知道有几千年的时间，基督徒当他们读圣经的时候是没有所谓的章节的。
Mind you, many of them didn't have a Bible either.
其实当时很多人是没有圣经的，
But those who did had to find their way around a book.
但是那些有圣经的，他们必须要用自己的方式去找到那些
It
经
was
文。
an English Archbishop of Canterbury who decided to divide God's word into chapters.
其实是英国的一个大主教，他后来决定要把圣经章节化。
Many of those chapter divisions are in the wrong place.
那有很多的这些章节，他们的分段那个章的分章的地方是错误的地方。
For example,